There's lots of stories that stick with me for different reasons.
The charity does that for you. It really gives you a sense of purpose.
And as an ambassador, I just love to just jump on the bandwagon.
When I lose enthusiasm, that's the time for me to stop, but I don't think I ever would.
Anna cares just as much about her volunteers as she does about what AKO is as a charity and what it stands for.
I wanted people to come on board because they wanted to do it for the right reason.
The impression is long-lasting, ever long-lasting, and something that empowers me too.
Sometimes you may have to fight for the support that you need. Don't feel that you're on your own, because there are people out there that can help you.
I feel valued, and I think anybody that is under the team and has worked with the charity gets to feel that valued, you know what I mean? And they probably haven't felt that before.
Keep going, one day at a time. Some days good, some days not so good.
Nobody is on their own with this, and I think that's what AKO reminds people of.
Hello and welcome to the Social Care Chronicles, the podcast where we talk to people who are reshaping lives right across the health and social care sector. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by two remarkable guests. First of all, Anna Kennedy OBE, founder of the charity Anna Kennedy Online, is one of the UK's most influential voices and for autism awareness. She's a mother, campaigner and advocate whose work has transformed education, community inclusion and opportunities for autistic people for more than 25 years. And joining her is Mr. Kieron Lee, Birmingham-based musician, producer and proud Anna Kennedy Online ambassador, using his music and lived experience to champion creativity and inclusion for autistic people. Together, we're going to explore Anna's journey and the work of her charity and how creative platforms like Autism Got Talent are giving people the confidence to shine. Anna, Kieron, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
It's lovely to be here.
Tell us a bit more about the stop and search guidance that you, Anna Kennedy, got involved with, your husband got involved with. Tell me what happened with that in the Metropolitan Police, because that's could be something that a lot of people could see as a real negative out there right now.
So stop and search, we had quite a few adults that had written to my husband Sean, because my husband Sean's autistic. He got diagnosed 25, 30 years ago, right. And he works in the legal world. So he had a young lady that I can't really, because it's obviously legal. But she contacted him about basically, you know, her experiences with the police. We've had other young people, even like my own son Patrick, you know, when he was younger, as soon as he would hear a siren or something, it would trigger him and he'd start running, and the police stopped him and they said he couldn't speak. He started getting anxious, and then they started searching him, and he just kept saying, I want to speak to my mom, I want to speak to my mom. So then
so almost you would get overloaded very quickly.
So I spoke to the police officer and they just said, do I need to take him to the hospital? I went, no, you don't need to take him to the hospital. He's on the spectrum. He just needs to go home. I said, he hasn't got anything on him. You can search him, whatever. Yeah. I said, but you're touching him. I said, and he needs to know where the hands are coming from and all the rest of it. So anyway, so we decided, we got in contact with, he contacted us actually, and he was a parent of, I think he's got 2 children now on the spectrum, right. And he's a DC from the Metropolitan Police. Yeah. And we started talking about, should we put something together for stop and search for the police officers, for something a little bit about autism, various different scenarios of what could possibly happen, and maybe like a booklet that could be shared all across the police. So it took quite a while to get it through. You can imagine the red tape and all the rest of it. It was like nearly
a lot of layers.
Yeah, it was nearly 2 years of really pushing. But then we finally put the document together. My husband did a lot of the work. Dion did a lot of the work.
Sure.
And then we put it together in the booklet, and then we just put it out there. And a lot of the police were saying, oh, this is great. You know, this has just really opened my eyes. And also they'd opened, there's a lot of parents there that were police officers or autistic officers themselves, and they were really pleased to see this document. DC Dion, I can't remember, he's changed his title now. He's gone up in the world, superintendent something, Dion Brown. And basically what happened was he set up a support group for parents who were in the police force
Sure.
who are autistic or autistic themselves. Even
Yeah.
the commander came out and said that he was autistic when they were having this group. We
Right.
did a awareness raising chat with them online,
Yeah.
and it just sort of grew from there really. And it's still ongoing, growing all the time. And then the actual document itself, if you type in "stop and search Anna Kennedy" online, you can get the whole document.
Yeah.
And we actually won an award at the Magic Circle.
Fantastic.
We were there for I think we won the top award. Do you know what? My brain is just like, I think I've got a bit of brain fog at the minute. It was just
Yeah.
like my brain's constantly whirring all the time.
Sure.
But we won an award. It was a top award because there was one award that we won, and then there was an overall award. I can't remember what the title is, but we won that as well.
Good. But basically, from one instance that you had and your family had, you saw a need and you started to address that need, and then suddenly, a bit like the Autism Got Talent stuff,
Yeah.
things came to you.
Yeah, and we asked for feedback as well.
Yeah.
We're not it's not as if we just do it and say there you go. So with this particular report, we asked for feedback from various
Sure.
different people, various different groups. Even Simon Baron-Cohen came and he had a read of it, and various other people. So they had their input, and then when we were really satisfied with what we put together, then that's when it was. We wanted printed documents, but apparently they couldn't get funding for the printed documents.
Sure.
So we just did it online.
Yeah, but I think from what you're telling me is that from one idea, things sort of mushroom out in your world so quickly.
Yeah, and it's not that we plan things. That's the big thing about Autism's Got Talent and everything else that we do. They just sort of happen like that with seeds of ideas.
Yeah. So, Mr. Kieron Lee, let's talk Mr. Kieron Lee about your creativity and your ambassadorship. So, you're a musician, a producer, and ambassador now, and your track "Letting Go" on Building Bridges, the charity album. What inspired that song? What was it that? How did it feel to contribute with your work to that project and about inclusion, understanding, and getting people to see things in a different way?
Back then, again, I was very uninterested. I didn't really quite understand, just knew that what I was doing was for a good cause. It was Aaron York that actually wrote the track, but I'd say they're very different in compared to how his Letting Go sounds to my Letting Go. But like I say, I think because of that time, it's still like yesterday's highlight. I still remember it clear as day. It was just such an invaluable experience, and I think it is every time I do something with AKO or Autism's Got Talent. And as an ambassador, I just love to just jump on the bandwagon and see what Anna's doing, and it just resonates with me so much. And I think it's because, I think it's that feeling of being misunderstood. And I don't need to hold that with me all the time, because you don't think of someone with autism like, oh, everybody gets me, because it's quite the opposite way, isn't it? Like, my head's my head, and I don't expect you to understand it if I can't understand it, sort of thing. And I just think from doing the Building Bridges album,
That was like the stepping stone, really,
that was
getting involved.
to getting involved, and it's just been like almost 10 years later. Now I run Anna Kennedy's website, make sure that looks all pretty, help with any marketing and promotional content, doing the nice graphics. And I think it's all about making, I feel valued. And I think anybody that is under the team and has worked with the charity gets to feel that valued, you know what I mean? And they probably haven't felt that before. And nights like Autism's Got Talent are nights that do that for people, really bring people out of their shells. It kind of like, I know where I'm going and where I want to be and who I, but my principles and my morals, they're still the same. I'm just more knowledgeable.
Fantastic. And so what sort of things do you get involved with as an ambassador now?
So every time I'm running the website, anything Anna asks, to be honest.
We have a saying in the charity, you get voluntold.
Anything Anna asks. Anything Anna asks, and it's
The website was a big thing because obviously it was
website
quite
was
old fashioned,
yeah.
and it was just because we don't have the money for such a websites can cost an absolute fortune.
My thing is accessibility and making sure that things are compliant, not only by law, but so that they're inclusive and accessible to people that, you know, interpret and learn things differently, because we all do. And that's
and it's constantly evolving all the
constantly
time.
evolving.
Yeah, thinking about, right, what can we do? How can we do this? How can we change this? What can we do there? Type of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to be providing some music workshops so that charity and, you know, offer more opportunities like that. Obviously, you know, I want to teach music, but it's not music that everyone's teaching. It's to adapt to the learner's needs.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most important thing to remember, is not everybody's the same.
Gotcha. And so finally, what would you say to younger autistic people who are listening to this now or watching this now, who dream of a career in music and arts? What would you tell them to start to do from now if they wanted to do what you're doing and getting involved
If
in?
it's their thing, hone the craft, because that's most important. I'm not just a musician, like I am an artist.
Gotcha.
Like, you know, I'm a businessman. I have to, you know, there's a lot of legal stuff to music, and I'm soon opening an inclusive, accessible educational platform that delivers music and digital branding.
Fantastic.
When we're open, come to us. Obviously,
love
we're
to.
supporting Anna Kennedy as well.
You know what I've noticed about him? How confident he is now. When I first met him, the confidence was just like, but now it's just like he likes bigging himself up and all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I love about it.
And the charity does that for you. It really gives you a sense of purpose.
I think like Whitley Bay was our last road show. You know, I made sure that extra time on stage was well spent. Got the whole crowd dancing, and I would not
That was your
have
best performance. You were just so happy and you were smiling, because sometimes he's like Mr.
melancholy, like, literally. But the moment that I think it was the crowd's reaction, and just really like soaking up everything around me, because I see it in such a different light to how I did as, you know, a 16-year-old teenager that's just trying to navigate his life on the spectrum. You know, I don't socialize in the way, like, you know, most people my age do. Like, even coming today was like quite nerve-wracking for me, because it feels like, you know, I haven't been in society for so long.
Even going to Whitley Bay, you were a bit nervous about travelling on the train to travel there. And I just said, oh, well, we'll be there, you know.
And it was one of the highlights of my year, this life. One of the highlights, actually, I'm tired too. Yeah, it was one of the highlights of this year. Even sitting back, you know, I kind of like, I'm here to watch too. Like, I'll just come on at the end and party with everyone. And but no, just to see the types of people that we see from doing these events, they make the impression is long lasting, ever long lasting, and it's something that empowers me to
keep going.
Keep going, to deliver music, to create music, you know, using all of those life experience to put it to a song.
And now you want to teach others.
And now I want to teach others to do the same, because I realise it's not one size fits all.
Brilliant. So we've talked a lot about autism, Autism's Got Talent, your campaigns. Tell us a bit more about what you do to help people get recognition, because obviously people are getting a lot of recognition from Autism's Got Talent, as in they're building careers, they're finding confidence, you're teaching people, you're helping people, you're building friendships, connecting people across a community there. So one of the things that I found out about online is you run a thing called Autism Hero Awards for recognition. Tell me a bit more about it.
So Autism Hero Awards, it started off as me being a presenter in Wales for something called Holly's Ball. And they asked me if I would present the awards. So I said that I would. So they did it for about 2 or 3 years. And then a lady called Jo said to me, it's just getting too much for me, she said, and I want to hand it over. I don't want it to die. She said, and we only run it in Wales. She said, and I'll know you'll do something else with it. So I said, can I do it for the whole of the UK? So she said, it's yours now. You do whatever you like. So Jo came to the first one. She absolutely loved what we did with it. So we recognise people that go the extra mile. So whether they're parents, carers, businesses, reporters that write particularly well, because some of those articles that you read are not written that well. And siblings, nanas, granddads, autistic people, whoever they want to nominate, who they feel. So there's 10 categories.
Right.
And then we have judges. We have 7 or 8 judges that come along, and they have the tough choice of choosing 3 finalists for each category, and they always ask us for extra time, and they always ask us for tissues because there's a few tears when they're reading them. And then I get two categories. I'm glad I don't have to choose any of those, but I choose 2. So charity volunteer of the year, and then someone who I've watched throughout the UK or wherever that I feel that I'd like to give that person the award.
They really stood out as doing something amazing.
That's right. So we've been doing it for a number of years now. So we now started it again. So I think we're in our 6th year. The years are running away with us. And so now the nominations are open. So it's all on the charity website. So if you'd like to nominate someone, it's the end of January is the closing date.
So not long. They've got a month or two.
Yeah, I've got a couple of months. We're always looking for sponsors as well. So we have a sponsor for each particular charity. So they get a picture on the red carpet. They get to give out the award on stage, which is lovely. Their logos are on the programme. They're on the website. They're on the brand board. So we're always looking for people to support. And it's such an emotional evening. It's like a 3-course meal. We have a few Autism's Got Talent performers that perform as well. We slot them in wherever we can. And it's just such a lovely evening. So, so we try and keep the cost as low as possible because we like for parents to come along to celebrate as well. So I love doing the Autism Hero Awards. It's really lovely.
So looking back on this year's awards that happened this year in 2025, who really stood out for you from those awards? What story did they have that really?
All the stories have got something that pulls your heartstrings for different reasons. So obviously, we always get lots of mothers. Like we would get a lot of mothers. We'd get a lot of carers. We don't get so many siblings, which I find a bit. I thought we might get more siblings. We've had teachers that go the extra mile. And there was one particular young man who I remember. He was a team kart racing driver, Sandro, and he won. This is not from this year, but this was from a little while back. Yeah. And his idol was an Canadian. Who's now one of my ambassadors. He's a racing driver.
Oh, wow.
So he's amazing. So what they did was they created a helmet for him, and it was like a secret. So Matty, who's also one of my ambassadors, came along to present him, and his face was a picture when they gave him the helmet. So Sandro now is not on Team Car, and he's now racing cars. His dad does everything for him. He's amazing, Anthony. So there's lots of stories that stick with me for different reasons. Another lady, Leo, who fought hard for her son to get out of hospital. As you know, there's a lot of autistic adults that are in hospital now that shouldn't be there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're like miles away from home. So she was another one of my winners. So there's lots of people for different reasons who I've chosen. And it's hard for me to choose volunteers as well. I chose Aston, who's one of my ambassadors, as my volunteer of the year. He does amazing work. He raises money not only for our charity, for other charities. We do a radio programme on Gateway Radio once a month where we invite guests. We interview them online. He's now one of my main compares. So this is what happens. He started off as Autism's Got Talent. Then we're doing podcasts, and now he's one of my main compares. So he loves it. He wears his sparkly jacket, and he's got a sign on the back that says "Autistic and Proud."
Fantastic.
So
if someone wants to nominate someone, where can they go to nominate someone?
So it's all on the charity website. So it's www.annakennedｙonline.com. So there's 10 categories. You just need to fill out your categories. Please write as much as you possibly can, because sometimes people just write 2 or 3 sentences and it's just not enough for us to go on.
Sure.
So if you can write a paragraph, that would be great. And then we have our judges. So I've just brought on board Nana from GB News, who's a big follower of ours, and Vicky Michelle, who's been judged for about 4 years. She loves what we do. So we're actually going to be on GB News very soon talking about the Autism Hero Awards. So,
fantastic. So watch this space, but get online and make sure you've nominated
January
someone.
31st. And, you know, if you're not quite ready for January 31st, there's a couple of days we're quite flexible.
Oh, well. Yeah. It's good to know. There's always a little bit of a wiggle room there.
Yeah, I always get someone say, "Oh, it's not quite ready yet. I haven't finished." I said, "It's fine, as long as you get to me in the next couple of days."
And then you can start the hard process of judging and getting people to connect with them and work out what's what.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. So looking back forward from here, I mean, if obviously you've worked for so long in this space, and you've created so much in this space. If a young parent came to you today, feeling overwhelmed after their child's diagnosis, what would you, and you, Kieron, what would you both say to them at this point?
Arm yourself with information.
Yeah.
So information is key. Put your body armor on. It's
Yeah.
like what I always say, because sometimes you may have to fight for the support that you need. Know the system. Get to know somebody that knows the system. And when you go into meetings, take them with you. Because sometimes you can get I know that when I speak about my own son, I can get overwhelmed because he's my son. And sometimes you don't think at your best, if you like. So write things down when you go to a meeting. And after you've been to a meeting, get them to email you what was in the meeting, because sometimes verbal is not always good, because then it doesn't materialize into anything. Get to know about, say, EHCPs, because they can be a minefield, especially now, social care plans and all the rest of it. But always go to someone who's been through the system, and they can support you, and they can sit with you in the meeting who knows the system as well. So just don't feel that you're on your own, because there are people out there that can help you. Do you know what? Facebook is pretty good for parents, I think. Because I've seen parents where they write a question, they say, oh, can someone help me? Or even if they're looking for like a social club. I live in Liverpool. Does anyone know of a dance club that would... everybody just jumps on board and helps. And that's what I think Facebook is good for, because I know social media can be quite negative sometimes, but it can be really positive, and you can make good connections there. And I've made a lot of good connections and friends. For example, just, what day is it today? Tuesday. Yesterday, I met somebody that I've been liaising with for years, and I actually thought I'd met her, but I haven't. It's because I've been chatting to her that often on Facebook. So we met, and then we met for the first time yesterday, and she sent me a message. She just said, oh, we're talking about doing something together now, and it's just like, I've met so many great people on social media.
So don't be backward in making those connections on social media. Seek out help. Reach out.
I would say, I think for me, I really Zen. You know, speaking to someone who's actually got lived experience of having autism, I think I wouldn't say I find it annoying, because I don't. But say, for example, I'm doing my teacher's training, and I focus on inclusive and accessible education, but I don't want to lean into, you know, making my degree or my other whatever, you know, SEN-based, because it's like, why would I want somebody to tell me how, you know, I would operate? And I think it's, don't be naive, or people can be naive with it. So I think, you know, reaching out to those with lived experience, you know, Anna didn't just, like, you know, she's got two sons and plus Sean on the spectrum. Like, it's a lot of experience, and I think getting that and any early intervention is just crucial.
But also they need to know the system, because it's quite complicated, and you can be told lots of different things that don't materialise.
And there's parcels of help potentially over there, potentially over there, and potentially over there. But
there's help we don't even
3 or 4 different ways to access it. So it's about finding those connections, reaching out, and getting people.
And don't be on your own, because there are people out there that are only too willing to help you.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. And what gives you hope for the next generation of autistic children and their families, now that we are in 2025 and not in the early 90s when where you started?
I think there's more awareness raising now, and obviously people want acceptance, don't they? They want to be accepted, and that's like a biggie. I think there's a lot of awareness raising now because of people maybe who are celebrities and what have you that are talking about it. People, especially women now, because obviously before it was always about men, and now it's like women who are masking, and now more women are coming out.
There's still the stigma.
But I'm still a bit worried about funding. That's a biggie for me, and how long people have to wait for a diagnosis. Because that's obviously a lot of these children and adults, they're going to need the support when they're in school. If the school doesn't know what they're actually dealing with, you know, what diagnosis it is, what support needs to be put in place, what funding. It's just, I don't know, it's a bit of a minefield at the minute, but I just think, just keep pushing along. And I always say, keep going, one day at a time. Some days good,
Yeah.
Some days not so good, but
Sure.
always speak to somebody, always speak to a parent, or like I share about the tough nights that I have.
Yeah.
And parents think that they're doing something wrong. They think, oh, well, Anna's having a tough night, so it must be all right then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And or Anna's still going. This is what I get a lot of. I follow you on Facebook. You're still going, so you motivate me to go along. There's even like a professional that I know. She said as soon as she gets up in the morning, she looks to see what I'm doing. And I just think, why are people interested in what I'm doing? Sometimes it's just going for a walk with Angela on a Saturday,
Yeah.
but it's a routine thing that we do.
Yeah.
And then people say, oh, what's that park like that you go to? I said,
Yeah.
oh, they're great. This cafe's great.
Sure.
And it's just like, so, yeah, I think there's a lot of positivity out there, but I'm still a bit worried about what's going on out there at this present time with EHCPs.
Yeah.
Yeah, with adults, social care. The LEDA report, nothing's changed that much.
Okay.
Yeah, the DNRs and all the rest of it. And still you've got adults that are in hospital that shouldn't be there. I think we've still got a lot.
We've got a long way to go in
We
that
do,
sense,
but you
yeah.
just need to keep chipping away and don't give in.
Yeah. And I think if you could speak to policymakers or educators or employers listening right now, what would your message be to them?
Listen to parents, listen to adults, autistic adults, about what they need.
Yeah.
Don't make decisions for them about them.
Right.
I can say
And
that.
and what frustrates me is, especially when you're going through the EHC process, you've got the people that are on a team who've never even met that child.
Right.
They're making decisions for them based on reports.
That they've read.
Just what they've read
Yeah,
and what they think they know.
yeah. I can't get my head around that. And I know there's a lot of children and all the rest of it, but it would be put a face to a name and meet the child.
Yeah. Connect more.
Yeah.
So if you could say to one people,
Connect and listen.
connect and listen. And that's what the advice that keeps coming up again
Yeah.
and again with what we've said. You know, you've connected with people for Autism's Got Talent. You've connected with people and listened with the Metropolitan Search stuff. You've then gone on and created other platforms for people to understand more about what you're doing, and you're connecting with people with music. And I think what you seem to be saying over and over in lots of different ways is don't be afraid to connect and don't be afraid to reach out.
And don't have meetings as well where you invite people, but you don't really listen to them. It's just a tick box exercise to say that they're
Exactly.
there.
It's like you're trying to meet a
I've been to
criteria.
so many. I just think, are you actually listening to what we're saying?
Yeah.
It's not a tick box exercise.
Okay. And finally, what keeps your fire burning, Kieron, when you're sort of up against it and you're feeling a bit pressured and overwhelmed? What is it that you go back to that helps you keep going?
Oh, the music every time. That keeps my fire alive and wanting to create the same opportunities that I've had for people, you know, with similar experiences. That's kind of like my goal in life now, is to just live by that, because we're not always, you know, we're not all on the same. We're not always on the same page.
Gotcha.
And I think we should all have like equal opportunities to,
To thrive.
to thrive 100%. 100%. I think you just need somebody, even if it's just one person, to believe in what you're doing. I think that's enough.
And what about you, Anna? What keeps your fires going at?
My sons,
Yeah.
my team of volunteers, and the work that we do. And I think when I lose enthusiasm, that's the time for me to stop. But I don't think I ever will. Like, I'm 65 now, and I'm thinking,
You wouldn't believe it, would you?
No.
and I just think I worry about, like, obviously getting older and all the rest of
Yeah.
it. But I just think my fire's still burning as the same as it was all those years ago. And I've got a great team with me, and we're growing all the time, and we support each other. Through
And
the
as a-
COVID, we were
yeah.
just all supporting each other via WhatsApp and
Not
what have you.
seeing people for so long. Anna cares just as much about her volunteers as she does about what AKO is as a charity and what it stands for.
Like Lisa always says to me, I'm always worrying about everyone. Or
Yes.
about everyone. Like, if they're real, oh, you're all right. Oh, like, you know, it's just like, I always try and keep in touch with everybody.
And that's wonderful. So, Anna Kennedy and Mr. Kieron Lee, thank you for joining us today on the Social Care Chronicles. It's been inspiring to hear your lived experience, the communities that you've created, and how creativity has had such a positive impact in the way society is perceiving autism, but also how people with autism are living out their lives. And I think The platforms you've created are opening up new doors for new generations, and thank you for coming on and telling us some more about it. But if you would like to learn more and you want to see more, visit annakennedyonline.com to explore their projects, resources, and upcoming events. And obviously, Kieron's the guy who updates it, so we'll be able to see exactly what goes on very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good luck.